Hello, friends. If you have been following me on Facebook, you may have noticed that in the last few days, I have been giving attention to the topic of submission in marriage. I began to give it attention after I noticed that many Igbo people, the category you find on Facebook and other social media, Igbo men, are talking about the need for women to submit. I found this troubling because, as an expert on the subject of violence, I read meanings that most people would not be able to read into that requirement of submission. And I have special interest in the Igbo marriage. The core of this book, Igbo Americans, is the state of the Igbo marriage. The Igbo marriage that I have studied, that I lived through, that I have witnessed, I am talking about the traditional Igbo marriage, the authentic marriage, did not have this character that I see a lot of people obsessed with. The need for the woman to submit the requirement. From my own point of view, what is required in the Igbo marriage is for the Igbo man and the Igbo woman to submit to Chiukwu and Dombenana, to play their required roles in the marriage. The woman has her role and position. The man has his role and position. And one of the positions of the woman is to accept that the man is the first among equals, while the woman is the second among equals, and the children, if they come, are by position of seniority, third, fourth, and fifth among equals. I witnessed my parents' marriage. I was already in law school when my father passed on, so I wouldn't be told about how they lived. I saw two individuals working together, with my mother recognizing that my father was the first among equals. And as I have said, I usually tend to see things that other people would not see. As I mentioned earlier, I have been giving the Igbo marriage a lot of thoughts. Why is it not working seamlessly as it used to work? Why are there too many divorces in the land? Like in the United States of America, I would say that 20% of the Igbo marriages fail, but some people say it's more than 20%. Some people say it may be up to 40%. Of course, so many factors are responsible. And I know that the Igbo marriage in Nigeria, in Igbo land, is not healthy. People have canvassed a lot of reasons for why the marriage is not healthy. They say that women are more empowered now, so they will not take the things they took in the time of our grandmothers. Well, no argument should be thrown away, but I do not think that this argument is tells us the entire story. My grandmother was an empowered woman. She was wealthier than my grandfather. I think that the notion that a woman should be Odoziako, Oriako, came via colonial culture. The Igbo woman was never an idle woman. After the betrothment of the Igbo woman, the next day, what the husband does is to show her his lands. Get this book. When in John Munonye's book, Chiako was shown by her second husband, she was a widow, his lands. And John Munonye wrote eloquently about it. John Munonye said she had plenty of lands to farm. So what am I saying? The Igbo woman was never a lazy woman. So I do not think that empowerment is responsible for what we are seeing. And I am not saying that only one factor is responsible. What I'm rather looking at is what are the factors that are introducing violence into the marriage. Off the top of my head came or rather to me came an idea. The Igbos have been exposed to tremendous violence for centuries. Whether we want to accept this and look at it critically, history cannot lie. History can be twisted, but any clever person can still see what happened if they wish. The Igbo society has been exposed to a lot of violence. A lot of Igbos were victims of the slave trade. After the slave trade, the British fought the Igbos for so many years, 33 years in all. After that, violence of genocidal proportions was unleashed on the people. And then what happened? A lot of people began to see violence as a way of life. And remember, we are talking about the people who are already traumatized. And these same people imbibed an idea that is completely foreign, that the wife has to submit to the man. And when you begin to teach a wife that the best and the only way to run a marriage is to get her to submit to you. If Igbos are not thinking about submitting, why are they talking about submission? I discovered that they are reading a verse in the Greek scriptures, the New Testament, in the book of Ephesians, which says that a man has to love his wife and the wife has to submit to him. If it's not important to them, why are they using the word submission? Okay, after you have instructed, tutored, programmed a woman into knowing submission as the only way to run a marriage, after the woman becomes an expert, who is she likely to practice what she learned on? The husband. The person closest to the person closest to the wife is the husband. She will try to make him to submit. Because remember, it's not only the man that has been exposed to violence, the woman has been exposed to it too, and both of them have bought into this culture that you have to make whoever is around you to submit. The man trains the woman to submit to his whims and caprices. The woman learns that is the only way of running the home, so she submits the man. We don't have to argue. That is why majority of Igbo men are scared of their wives. This will come as deja vu to most Igbos, because even though they are afraid of their wives, they do not know that they are afraid of their wives. The wives fear the men fear the husbands. But that's not the way it is supposed to be. Both of them are supposed to be friends. I saw such couples when I was growing up. The man would, on passing the house of the wife, throw a joke and move. She would, on passing his own quarters, throw a joke and move. I continued to look, and I found something interesting today. One Mordecai Soscale brought up a portion of the Bible that says that, this time the Hebrew Bible, that talked about the man ruling the wife. He had a discussion with the wife about this verse. He admitted that he thought it meant that the man, that since it's biblical, that he thought that it meant that the man would actually rule the wife literally. Then, thinking about it critically, he began to also look at a lot of other things. The same Bible talked about the woman going through pain during childbirth. But what is happening today? She gets an epidural. He said his wife got it all the time she gave birth, and there was no pain. In other words, as the provisions of from what we know about the provisions of the Hebrew Bible has told us, has given us an idea, has taught us about a situation which we should work to improve on, to make better. Just like we read about Isaiah's prophecy about a time when there will be no war. It is our responsibility as humans to push for that era, to enthrone justice, so that ultimately there will be no violence. If we don't work towards that, violence will live with us. So likewise, if we just read the Bible literally and take it that the man would rule over the wife, if we do not work to enthrone good relations between husband and wife as the Igbos did, what you're going to see is what we find in some parts of the world where wives are literally slaves. But what I think that Mordecai Soscale went further to say is that there are layers of understanding of the Bible. There are parts of the Bible that you will only understand if you are familiar with the culture of the Bible. The Igbos also are inheritors, or are the ancestors of the Igbos are co-creators of the Bible. Why did they create? Why did they live a marriage? Why did they practice a marriage where the man and the wife, where the wife was even more empowered? As I had noted repeatedly on this show, the power to initiate and insist on divorce was taken from the Igbo man and given to the Igbo woman. What level of empowerment, what kind of empowerment is more than this? You cannot find this anywhere. The power to divorce was taken from the man and given to the woman, because the Igbos discovered, or rather taught, that the woman should be a protected part of society, because the man is naturally stronger, bigger, in order to protect the woman, to ensure that there is justice between them. The ancestors of the Igbos, who understood that provision of the Bible, the parts of that provision that are not apparent to the person without knowledge of the culture that the writers of the scriptures practiced. They protected women. They gave them power to initiate and insist on divorce. I will still repeat this procedure again so that those that did not hear my earlier talks about it will understand it. The only time an Igbo man can insist that the wife would leave and he would get community support is if adultery was found, if she lay down with another man. Anything beside that, the man would be told to seek the other remedies. Everyone knows the other remedies. But if the woman gets tired of the marriage and informs her people and they return the bride price, that's the end of the marriage. This is super protection. Thank you.